In the headlines, Northern elders raise concerns over killing of Northerners in South. Bond says NBC broke its own rules as condemnation continues to trail sanctions against Trust TV and others. President Buhari approves 24 billion naira for modular irrigation project. And on the foreign scene, Taiwan says Chinese planes and ships carry out attack simulation exercise. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. And now the news in detail. The Northern Elders Forum has expressed concerns over rising cases of profiling and killing of Northerners in many parts of the southern Nigeria, especially the southeast. Director of Publicity and Advocacy of NEF, Hakim Baba Ahmed, made the position of the forum known in a statement on Friday. The NEF stated that the recent murder of Nigerians in Imo State, apparently on suspicion that they were Northerners, is one incident among many recent ones that involved harassment, illegal arrests, attacks, and killing of Nigerians from the north. The forum called on governments, communities, and law enforcement agencies to protect Northerners living in the south. Following the security challenges bedeviling the nation, the Explosive Ordnance Disposal, Chemical, Biological, Radiological, Nuclear Command operatives of the Nigerian Police Force has trained 324 of its personnel on explosives techniques to address explosives associated with terrorism across the nation. Addressing the 324 auxiliary personnel at the Police Mobile Force Training College, Nasarawa State, at the Course 29A 2022 graduation ceremony, the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba, charged the trainees to use the knowledge acquired to tackle the menace of insecurity in the country. IGP Baba, who was represented by the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Federal Operations Department Force Headquarters, Balachi Roma, said that the training was aimed at enhancing and reinvigorating the operations across the nation. He added that the training acquired by the personnel would expose them to current methods and methodology in combating threats associated with terrorism. The Kaduna State Commissioner of Police Yekini Adio Ayoku has called for continued support for the police to enable the force deliver on its mandate. The commissioner, who was represented by ACP Ibrahim Laladi of the Kafanchan Area Command, stated this at the graduation ceremony and passing out parade of the pioneer set of students of Police Secondary School Tum Kagoro in Kaura local government area of Kaduna State. He called on the graduating students to use the training they received in the institution to better their lives and be good ambassadors of police. In his remarks, the school commandant Solomon Ntawaye Ambatu commended the senator representing Kaduna South Senatorial District, Lenjumatela La, for sponsoring the school project. Senator La said the police secondary school Tum Kagoro is one of the best things that happened to the people of southern Kaduna in terms of educational development.
This school, as one of the constituency projects for this senatorial district, I was verbally cited here in Tum Kagoro, Kaura local government, area following a keen competition among others.
You all imbibe the training, both academic and discipline you receive in this institution. The police is a disciplined organization. Wherever we are, wherever we associate with, we associate in terms of discipline and dedication. One day we will meet some of you on the way and we say this is our student that we have trained. And these students are well trained and they are also inculcating the discipline of the.
The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria says that the National Broadcasting Commission had violated its own laid-down procedures when it sanctioned Trust TV and other pay TV platforms. In a letter to NBC and signed by BON Executive Secretary Dr. Yemigbam Boshe, the organization says NBC was required to wait for a response from the affected stations before slamming them with 5 million naira fines for transmitting TV documentaries that were considered offensive to the government. BON pointed out that in the case of Trust TV, which aired its documentary on March 5th, its executives were summoned to NBC's headquarters on August 3rd and handed a letter of fine contrary to the 14-day time frame provided for Section 14, subsection 2 of the Code. BON is therefore asking the regulator to withdraw the fines imposed and adopt a two-layer disciplinary process on matters pertaining to the violation of the Code. While some Nigerians have described the decision to fine Trust TV network 5 million naira for a documentary it aired as authoritarian and undemocratic, they are also of the opinion that the action is an attempt not only to oppress the media, but to further heighten the insecurity bedeviling the country. Abdullahi Ahmadi samples the opinions of some Nigerians in Katsina and now reports.
These Nigerians are asking why the Nigerian government is wielding its sledgehammer on the media for raising issues that are real and already dwarfing Nigeria in the eyes of international community. People such as the fifth Wazir in Katsina, Professor Sani Luga, and Dr. Samaila Balarabi, head of Mass Communication Department, Hassan Usman Katsina Polytechnic, disagree with the NBC sanction.
First of all, particularly the Media Trust television broadcasts, to my mind, should have earned an A in research in a very, very senior university. It was an excellent research document, which I thought the government should use because it satisfied all the criteria for research. That documentary traced the genesis, the reasons behind banditry. It also discussed the effect of banditry and recommended measures that should be taken to curb banditry. To my mind, the government should have funded even more of such media documentaries rather than sanctioning those who, to my mind, assisted the government in doing the work it should have done.
They believe the National Broadcasting Commission wants the media to turn its face away from the reality of the situation and are asking questions. Will any Nigerian say all is well with the incessant terrorist attacks, killings, abductions for ransom, daylight robbery and rustling of animals? Is anybody saying Nigerians are not dying from terrorism, hunger, and abject poverty occasioned by the spread of insecurity? It is only when these questions are answered that the sanction on Trust TV can be justified.
The Trust TV has every right in that respect to produce that documentary under the pretext of the public principle. You know, even in the defense for defamation in communication law, public principle is one of the defenses for defamation. Public principle is normally, advanced in the situation whereby the media actually produce something that may likely seem to go against the wish of the state, but it capitalizes on the fact that it is doing it for the public interest with a view to promoting some public good in society.
They described the sanction as unwise and an act of impunity. Besides, it is direct attack on democracy and feelings of Nigerians.
I would therefore advise the government to withdraw the sanction and perhaps even commend Media Trust for that excellent work. Or, in the alternative, I think Media Trust should immediately go to court.
Many Nigerians cannot understand the decision of the National Broadcasting Commission to sanction Trust Television Network for airing a documentary on insecurity in Nigeria. In Katsina State, It is even more puzzling in light of the fact that the state has in the last 5 years been under siege with about 10 to 12 local governments under the total control of terrorists. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Young robotic engineer in the making. Do stay with us.
That's good. It's good to see you.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. We told you that Northern elders raised concerns over killing of Northerners in the South. You also heard that Bond says NBC broke its own rules as condemnation continues to trail sanctions against Trust TV and others. Into more news, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 24 billion naira for the execution of a smart modular irrigation project. Executive Vice Chairman, CEO of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Mohammed Haruna, announced this on Friday after a meeting with President Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Haruna, who said he was at the villa to show the financial details of the agency's operations to the president, stated that the modular irrigation project, whose fund was approved last week, would enhance agricultural development in the country and enable farmers to produce crops 3 times around the year. He said the president, who is the executive chairman of the agency, needed to be updated on the way the place will be run.
It was approved by Mr. President in 2021 that Naseni should be receiving 1% of the Federation account, which is the statutory provision in the Establishment Act of Naseni. Now, Naseni has commenced receiving federal government component of the 1% of the Federation account. The budget of Naseni in 2022 is based on the estimated and expected 1% of federal government share of the Federation account, which is 54 billion 50,799,850 naira. This funding as baseline charge is divided into 70.4% as capital, 11.22% as personnel, and 11.3% as overhead.
The Northwest Zonal Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Salihu Lukman, says the party is putting modalities in place to reconcile its aggrieved members in the zone before the commencement of the campaign this year. Speaking after a meeting with APC State's chairman in Northwest Zone in Kaduna, Lukman said although the reconciliatory drive is recording positive results, the party needs to push harder to achieve more. The report.
According to Lukman, each of the states within the zone set up a reconciliation committee, adding that as leaders in the zone, they have visited all the states and will return to push to ensure that all aggrieved members are reconciled.
So we are pleased to note that progress are being made in each of our states. You know, in each of our states there are those reconciliation committees. You know. And one of the decisions we took here is to try and go back and push the work of the reconciliation to conclude before the commencement of campaign on 28 September 2022.
He explained that the party agreed for the committees to equally mobilize people who have registered to pick up their permanent voters' cards.
While noting that the period the INEC earmarked for it has closed, we have also taken note of the fact that there are still many people who have registered and their voters' cards are ready with INEC, yet to be collected. And we have agreed to get the chairman to go back and mobilize citizens in our states to ensure that those who have registered and their voters' card are ready, ensure that they collect it.
Lukman further mentioned that the zone recorded an impressive percentage of decampees from other parties back to the APC. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
There have been calls to scrap the compulsory one-year youth service due to hazards posed by insecurity to members of the National Youth Service Corps. But stakeholders are insisting that the scheme is very crucial in promoting unity and patriotism in line with holding decorum in national discourse. Stakeholders rather want the scheme to be totally overhauled. The report.
We are aware that the management of the NYSC has done tremendously well in securing of corps members during their service year. We must also admit that various security measures introduced over the years by the NYSC management have been noteworthy in the sense that incidences of threat to lives of corps members have reduced drastically compared to what was the case in the past years. Therefore, it remains an illusion on the part of the advocates for the scrapping of the NYSC, which in our opinion was brought about by pecuniary gains rather than the relevance of the issue at hand. Our support for the operation and reforms in the NYSC remains unflinching as worthy partners in progress. We believe that with the right incentives, the NYSC will remain that critical agency that will address the challenges experienced by youths in the country to transform their hopes and aspirations into tangible realities.
A 17-year-old secondary school graduate in Kano, Isa Berde, is building a robot as he prepares for secondary education, where he intends to widen his horizon in the field. Isa Berde says he plans to study robotics to become an expert in artificial intelligence. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin meets Isa and sent in this report.
It's been 3 years since Isa Berde started inventing this robot. He says it's part of his life aspiration, even though there is little or no outside support. With a little help from his brother, Isa can now move this robot using his hands.
This robot is made up of motors, DC motors, cardboard, and some of LEDs, wires, copper wires, and aluminium. There are hidden pipes inside, and the tires, and even wood. So it makes up with not. There are local things that I get from people, and one market called Jakara, that area is there. They are destroying things, so you can go and buy things that you need inside. Something like their hair dryer, their motors inside, you can go and get that motors from them.
Isa has just completed his education and now wishes to study robotics in a foreign university. Unfortunately, his parent may not be able to sponsor him.
I don't have the means to support him, but I will be happy if he has the support elsewhere, neither the governments or individuals. I'm a poultry farmer at the other side. So by the name, my father is a pioneer poultry farmer, Bakwabarje, who has Enzaki chicks. Even him, he support the way his grandchild are moving, and he don't have the means to support them.
According to his father, Isa started showing interest in engineering at the age of 8, and that following a constant encouragement and support, he is gradually perfecting his dream.
My interest in him, I want him to be someone very creative, that will, I want him firstly to be someone that will be somewhere one day. So I always support him when he gets tired on his work or he's about to give up. I always support him so that he will be something one day. As you can see, he embedded this robot. So in the future generation, we didn't know what he will create that might help our country at large.
Although Isa aspired to invent more of this, but the lack of support by government authorities and other philanthropists may likely threaten, if not kill, his entire dream. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Blacksmithing is one of the oldest occupations in Africa. It has for centuries provided humanity with skills to fabricate objects out of iron. However, the art of blacksmithing goes beyond hot and noisy environment. It is a source of livelihood for many, which is at the risk of facing extinction. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal takes a look at how a 60-year-old man struggles to keep up with the business as technology is taking over the craft. The report.
Blacksmithing in Nigeria is an old, long occupation. It is found across all tribes. It is mostly practiced by men and transferred from generation to generation. However, this is fast disappearing as many find it to be a cumbersome procedure that requires strength. Yakubu Ibrahim, a 60-year-old blacksmith in Abuja, said he has been into the blacksmith business since 1986, when he started in Jos, Plateau State capital. He said he cannot pass over the business to his children as they are all in school to secure a better future than his, adding that although he has people working for him, it is difficult to keep up with the technology.
You know, that time that you didn't finish work, this one is just surplus for grass. You just go to the and be packing it. And anywhere where we go, we just begin to buy. Later, we begin to buy it small. The aluminium said, you know, it didn't reach 20 naira that time. We started to do it like more because I did for penny.
The blacksmith further added that the prices of raw materials needed to produce objects have skyrocketed, making the business to slow down.
Federal government now, what they can do for us, like this one now, some other will have engine to do, but this one is a local one, you blow the fire and melt it. If you say the engine there now and the measurement there for ground, it will be easy for us. You can produce like 200, 1,000 a day, because when the engine there, it's very easy to produce. If the government can help so that the engine can come out and other thing can come out. The mold come out and the engine come out. Or wherever they are, the engine dey. We can process the engine so that the engine we can make the work with the engine for us.
Reports showed that blacksmithing is an emerging viable career path in the developed countries, capable of creating wealth and huge employment due to availability of raw materials and modernized tools. But in Nigeria, the story may be different, as Yakubu is still using obsolete tools for production. Malam Yakubu Ibrahim therefore called on government to introduce policies that can assist in preserving the trade. In Abuja, Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News.
On the foreign scene, Chinese aircraft and warships practiced on Saturday for an attack on Taiwan. Island officials say in retaliation to a visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi that also saw Beijing halt dialogue with the United States in several areas. Pelosi's brief unannounced visit during the week to the self-ruled island claimed by China infuriated Beijing and has prompted unprecedented military drills that have included ballistic missiles fired over the capital, Taipei. On Saturday morning, Taiwan's defense ministry said multiple Chinese ships and planes conducted missions in the Taiwan Strait, with some crossing the median line, an unofficial buffer separating the two sides, movements that Taiwan's military believes were part of a simulation attack on the main Taiwan island. Taiwan's army broadcast a warning and deployed air reconnaissance patrol forces and ships to monitor while putting shore-based missiles on standby. And finally, in sports, Nigeria's Odunayo Adekuroye has won gold in the women's 57 kg freestyle wrestling at the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Adekuroye, who defeated India's Anshu Malik 7-3 on Friday in Birmingham to help Nigeria to the gold medal, came under pressure but was equal to the challenge from the Indian. Earlier in the day, Tobi Amusan admitted she is exhausted after winning World 100 meters hurdles gold last month, but the Nigerian world record holder looked impressive on Friday as she cruised through to the Commonwealth Games final. Amusan began the defense of her crown by finishing top of the qualifying times in 12.40 seconds in windy conditions. The 25-year-old Nigerian, who sported the logo "No Plastic Waste" on her tracksuit, is the favorite, but there are a clutch of rivals who could trouble her. With this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.